Okay.
Good morning and welcome to a regular session on April 8th. We have a full quorum present. Carrie, you certified being properly posted?
Yes, sir.
You'll please rise for prayer and pledges. James Ray?
Father, we call before we ask for this presence to be made known in this courtroom. Father, may you watch over each one of us and may we be in the center of your will. Father, we have so much to thank you for and praise you for. And the verse that I've chosen is First Chronicles chapter 29, verse 11. Thine, O Lord, is the greatness and the power and the glory and the victory and the majesty. For all that is in the heaven and in the earth is thine. Thine is the kingdom, O Lord, and thou art exalted as a head above all. Father, may we remember that and truly do that. Father, I ask for your direction upon the decisions that this court will make. Father, we just ask, Lord, that you lead us and may we all say it was good to be in your house and in your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance
To the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to Texas flag, of allegiance to Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Consent agenda contains 16 items. 17 items, sir. We're gonna pull
Number 12, please.
12 and 13.
13 and number 4. I'll make a motion, we accept the consent agenda, pulling 4, 12 and 13.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Number 4, approve claims and invoice submitted.
Just on page 5, there was a charge to the Sam Houston Funeral Home. It said additional cost.
That's a burial.
Costs or things like body bags and some things that aren't used on every call. I'm
Okay.
not sure
That was a-
exactly what that was, but I can.
It was a burial, indigent burial.
Okay. That's the only thing I have.
I don't have anything on that.
Well, I'll make a motion, we accept number 4 claims and
Second.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Number 12, approve proclamation 2024-43, declaring April as Sex Assault Awareness Month.
Mayor, I serve on the Safe House Board here in Walker County. We have some of their folks here today recognizing Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So I'd like to read the proclamation. Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every person in every community. Sexual Assault Awareness Month aims to raise public awareness about sexual abuse, harassment, and assault, and educate communities about how to be involved in prevention. This year's theme is Building Connected Communities. This April's campaign calls for each of us to work together to prevent sexual abuse, harassment, and assault. We believe when anyone experiences sexual violence, every community member is affected. We must strive to build more connected, respectful, and inclusive communities to promote our collective well-being and protect against the risk of sexual violence. We believe our communities will be safer and stronger by making them more equitable for people of all gender identities and sexual orientations, races, ethnic backgrounds, ages, faiths, and abilities. Statistics show over 53% of women and 29% of men reported experiencing sexual violence during their lifetime. Most women and men across all sexual identities who experienced contact sexual violence reported that the person who harmed them was someone they knew. More than one in 4 non-Hispanic Black women in the United States were raped in their lifetime. 1 in 3 Hispanic women reported unwanted sexual contacts in their lifetime. More than 4 in 5 American Indian and Alaska Native women have experienced violence in their lifetime. 32.9% of adults with intellectual abilities have experienced sexual violence. 47% of all transgender people have been sexually assaulted at some point in their life. As such, we must strive to create strong, connected communities that take care of one another and make decisions to ensure safety and well-being of others to end sexual violence. The Building Connected Communities campaign is an opportunity for our community to join with others around the world in committing to prevent sexual abuse, assault, and harassment. We join the advocates in communities across the country in taking action to prevent sexual violence. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and each day of the year is an opportunity to create change for the future. Proclaim this 8th day of April 19th, 2024. So my motion is to approve agenda item number 12, proclamation 2024-43.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion
I'd like to have a
carries.
picture with our
Yep.
folks, Judge, if we
Yeah,
could.
Start signing them.
It was okay on this one. So
Yeah, whatever we start with. We got a blue. Oh, you don't have your stamp.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, wait on stamp anyway.
all righty.
I got some on that one too.
Come on up, don't be shy. We'll put you right here across the front.
Good morning.
Good morning. Try not to cover.
We peek in between heads, you're fine.
Oh, you're good. We're gonna stand up. We're just
Yeah.
signing stuff.
Yeah. And we're gonna give them,
Somebody.
give this to somebody to hold.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
Awesome. Thank you, gang.
Thank y'all.
Oh. We're gonna need that back. Report number 13, approved proclamation 2024-52 declaring April 14th through April 20th as National Public Safety Telecommunication.
So we have a proclamation to read. We have Representative Anthony. Oh, don't run off, Anthony. So, he's here to represent.
You trying to leave it or what?
Anthony is our second in command up there and been there, I don't know, Anthony, like 20-something years.
Yes.
So, says whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurred, the prompt response of law enforcement officers, firefighters, and emergency medical service personnel is critical to the protection and preservation of life and property. And whereas the safety of our law enforcement officers, firefighters, and emergency medical service personnel is dependent on the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who phone the Walker County Public Safety Communications Center. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators are the first and for some, the most critical contact our citizens have with emergency service. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are a vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and emergency service personnel by monitoring their activities via radio and other electronic means, providing them with vital information and ensuring their safety. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators of the Walker County Public Safety Communications Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fire, treatment of patients, and ensure of callers' safety. And whereas Texas was the first to recognize emergency service dispatchers that provide communication support service for public safety agencies by responding to requests for assistance in emergencies. And whereas each public safety telecommunicator has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during their performance of their job in the past years. Therefore, be it resolved that the Commissioners Court of Walker County, Texas declares the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2024 to be National Telecommunicators Week in Walker County in honor of the men and women who diligence and professionalism keep our first responders and citizens safe.
Is your motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion. We accept number 13.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Come on up, Anthony.
Come up in.
Yeah.
Oh, you got your blue.
Verify
Right.
that.
Somebody that
I got
got
a
a blue
blue,
pen.
they texted in, but it's not working.
Allie, you still good back there?
Got a person trying to get on the YouTube from our website and it's not working.
Gone. Streaming.
Says waiting for host to start the meeting on the website link.
Get that
One's
one.
got two of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got that fancy.
Don't put it-
It's all right.
yeah, one of these days you might start.
Yeah. Go with
Couldn't miss that out.
I'm gonna try to-
I have 10 people in.
That's 40 years.
Well, she clicked on our link on our website to get to it.
It goes to them too.
Yeah, and that's one that's not working.
That's- She did make part. No, it's not. He's helping out.
All quiet in.
We approved.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like
That's
that.
what I was, that's why I was asking.
Tammy's.
That parking lot's
Still, let me give her a minute or two to talk about that.
Sure.
Thank you, sir, for what you do for us.
Okay, thank you very much.
You've done this before.
This is not Anthony's first time.
Try on. TRION. What? TRYON.
Thank you, Kenny.
Good to see you. Amy, want to talk?
I give her a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Tammy, we approved the teal ribbons around the courthouse in the consent agenda, but if y'all want to talk a couple of minutes about it, we'd be happy to listen. Put somebody under the spot. You don't have to, it's an option.
Come on, Tammy.
Okay, with this being Sexual Assault Awareness Month, these are the type of ribbons that we're just gonna put around the courthouse on the trees, just so we can
Oh, awesome.
show everyone
Thank
the
you.
support.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. So we'll see a lot of teal. We're putting them on our vehicles. We're putting them all over town, just painted down teal to show awareness. So we appreciate you letting us
Thank you.
borrow the courthouse.
But y'all have y'all's proclamation? Come get Miss French to stamp it for y'all. Thank you. I got a copy. Thank you. All right, number 18, discuss and take action on amendment number 1 to agreement for Vanguard Record Management and Imaging Systems.
Good.
That's the,
Pull number 14 as well.
I don't think we do.
No, I don't think so.
Mhm.
No.
There was nobody here.
12 and 13 is what I had. wrote down.
Yeah,
Move to approve 14.
wait, there wasn't,
it wasn't.
We've
it wasn't-
already approved it.
So we're on number 18. Okay,
It's you now.
okay, it's a amendment because the original contract was actually up last year. We were unaware of that. Ms. Allen had contacted me in regards to it. So this is an agreement extending that. Also has the funds and timeline for the future of it. And Quentin has reviewed it and participant has reviewed it and and auditor's office has reviewed it, so. This is for our records management, our COPAL system. That does our vitals.
And the money to support it comes from where?
It's all budgeted.
Budget. I don't have any issues with it. I'll make a motion to approve it.
So,
moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Number 19, maintenance, discuss and take action on water leak at the courthouse, Larry. And we're also gonna do We're gonna go into executive session under. Sorry,
We'll do 19 first.
you wanna do 19 first or talk about? All right, go ahead, Lane.
Okay, so I'm gonna fill you in some information may or may not be aware of what we have here at the courthouse. On January 24th, we had a very minor leak come through the ceiling into this county court at law. We identified exactly where the water came from. We addressed the situation inside the building at the time, got everything dried up, and they went back to business. 3 days later, the ceiling over here outside the first floor entrance started to sag. It was kind of like a stucco type ceiling that was up there below the actual concrete that started to sag over there. And it was because the flower bed was saturated from all the rains that we had had. The 24th was the day of the big 10, 12-inch rain day. And with the ground already being saturated, we were kind of mystified as to whether we have a problem or is this caused by this heavy rain. So we started looking into everything, and we had GLS send an engineer over. He reviewed what we had going on. We talked about it. We took pictures, did an assessment, fixed our plans with him back to his office, and then about a week or two later, he came back to us and told us that on our as-built plans, there is it's like a handwritten note on the as-built plans to see plan for drainage for this section of the flower bed up here. So it's really hard to tell. The plans are old. They're the original sets. They're very faded, very hard to read. We're having a hard time finding out whether those drains were actually installed during construction for these areas. While we were waiting for the answer from the engineers, me and my crew worked on unclogging any drains that we had clogged up here that we knew where they were. And during that time, we've uncovered a few that we didn't even know existed. This whole side over here, from corner to corner on the Sam Houston side, all the drains that we have been able to locate. And we have located their outlet and cleared all of them. We cleared all the downspout drains. Everything's flowing fine over here. We also done a lot of exploratory digging over here, just as a department over here, just to see what we've got going on. But I'm gonna get to that in a minute. On the 6th of March, no, on the 26th of February, I'm sorry, 26th of February, it was requested that we do some mold testing in the county court of law offices. We had air samples taken, and we had a sample taken from behind the wall where the leak occurred over there. The air samples came back fine. The air quality is fine in the area, but we have penicillin. I don't know how to say the other word, but it's a penicillin derivative of a mold that's behind the wall back there. Then about a week later, we had follow-up testing done. And if we can go to the slide where we see the map, please. Oh, that's really simple. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, that's great. Okay, it's kind of hard to see. So during this, it's highlighted, this wall being the front wall of the building closest to Sam Houston Avenue, up all the way around and all the way down, basically the entire county court of law over there has that same fungus growing behind the sheetrock. Again, the air quality is fine. The growth is encapsulated behind the wall. There's no insulation back there. It's an exterior wall. We have a concrete wall. Our concrete retaining wall exists directly behind the studs, which are directly behind the sheetrock. So it's all closed in right now. We have no concerns about our air, but we do need to address that problem. And then I'll circle back to the flower bed now. Because after talking with Judge Sorensen and Judge Christian, we decided that we want to try and address the problem. Since we know that we're okay with breathing over here, we want to address the problem. No sense in spending money and all the problems that we'd have doing the abatement
without getting to the problem and finding out why the water's getting in there to begin with. So another thing that happened along the way, we've had all the floor ducts, all the air ducts cleaned on this floor. That was recommended by the mold expert. They've all been cleaned and are clear and clean as a whistle. They weren't that bad, and there was no signs of growth in there. There was no testing done, but there was no signs of growth in there. Okay, so just to condense it, the rest of it, it's been a bunch of digging and a bunch of exploring and probing with rods and things and trying to find out what we got going on. If you can picture yourself looking at the courthouse from Sam Houston Avenue and look directly at the double doors at the entrance. So we have in front of that, you have the scaffolding that's there now. That scaffolding has been placed there because when the ceiling fell, there's a steel lintel to hold the brick up. As they built the brick, that lintel had rotted and it doesn't really exist there anymore. So that little structure there is there to keep that brick from collapsing down on us. That's not a structural problem we're worried about. We're just worried about bricks falling if someone's walking down there. In the bed above, what we found is we basically have from the corner of each corner of the building up to the top of the curved retaining wall, the big brick wall out front. Up to there, we've got a dirt floor on our flower bed. When we get about to that area right there, we've got about a 20 to 25 foot section of basically swimming pool. About 2.5, 3 feet below the surface of the natural surface of the dirt up there. It kind of dips down and makes a solid swimming pool. It was covered with a liner either during a repair at some time in the past or during original construction. I don't know whether. I don't have any record of anything like that was done. So right now we're working with some foundation people to try and get a solution. The strongest suggestion and what we think the best course of action from here is to remove all the vegetation on this section of the flower bed. Remove all the dirt out of those swimming pools. And then we'll be able to actually physically assess what's going on. Do we have a crack? Do we have deteriorated liner? Is there a drain that's hiding down there that's collapsed or just non-existent? But we need to get that cleaned out and get that addressed before we move forward with the rest of it. And again, all the parties involved are in agreement that this is the good course of action. Once this is addressed and we can start with the mold situation, we've already contacted 3 vendors and we have 3 proposals either already received. I don't know, Cheryl. We have 2 received and we're waiting for 1 more proposal on that. So we'll know what the cost looks like on worst case, best case scenario, depending on how much of the material as far as the sheetrock is going to have to be removed when they do the abatement. Let's see. While the abatement's going on, I'm going to say it's probably a big wide stretch. I'm going to say 4 to 6 weeks to get this work done, to get everything abated and rebuilt inside the courtroom and offices and have it safe for them to be able to operate. So we're going to have to figure out some, and that's on us here at the courthouse, just to try to figure out alternate scheduling for the courtrooms and offices from staff over there. We have a safe route for everything to be, all the contaminated material to be sealed up inside the containment area while the abatement's going on. And we've got a straight route outside the building. So there will be no chance of anything contaminating the building as it's being carried out. So right now, I guess we need to know if it's okay with you guys, if we go ahead and start removing this vegetation and start digging this out. Or is there some different direction someone's got an idea about?
Is this a discussion or just a?
Discuss and take action.
I think we need to move forward with it. I don't know how to make the motion though.
Yeah, I think we keep moving. I think it's a, it's not a good way to find out what kind of plants we should put up there when they go back in.
How about none?
Yeah, that too. That could-
Yeah, hey, that's what caused this problem. Anytime you put dirt over your head, yeah, not a good idea.
Well, there's several, we've got several ideas being floated around. One being, to just clean it out. If we don't have a drain in there, most economical thing might be to just, clean it out and have a lightweight concrete poured inside it. That would, just push the water off onto the lawn. That'd be one solution. Another solution that's been floated, is, to build an awning. That could be a complement to anything we might do, just to put an awning. It wouldn't have to be very large, just to keep it off of this one particular area. Keep that water from seeping down in there in the future.
So Larry, does it have like a shower pan in it, I guess? That goes into a drain?
Yeah, same type of concept, yeah.
Yeah,
So it doesn't go into a drain though.
yeah.
There's a
Doesn't
French,
go
the
into
drain runs up to the top
It's there.
and there's a French drain about 6 inches down.
There's a-
They can't
someone
go
put
any
a-
further 'cause
someone
there's
put a French
retaining
drain in
walls.
there, but it's so shallow.
Yeah.
It's actually, the French drain is only about 8 to 10 inches below the surface. And it had been buried. We didn't even know there was a French drain up there until
Yeah.
we started digging. But where it is, it's not gonna do any good, even if it does operate correctly, because it's so high above.
Yeah,
It's at least a foot and a half above the floor.
Where it needs to be.
So really today, you're just looking for, I guess, lack of a better term, permission to remove the plant.
I was just looking for a consensus, basically, that it's a major change to the aesthetic. But I think we need to go ahead and remove that stuff, and if we put anything back in it, it needs to be something like a shallow rooted ground cover or something like that, just to keep erosion from happening.
Yeah, I don't see where we have any option but to move forward. So you got me.
Yes, my motion would be to authorize, Larry and your staff to do the necessary work excavating and exploring on the west side of the courthouse second floor. And that's my motion.
Is insurance involved in this?
Insurance has been, insurance has been aware since the beginning, and they have given us a partial payment for the collapsed ceiling.
Remove staff.
They made an allowance for that. Originally, they had stated that looks like a maintenance issue. But that was before, Brett at TAC had actually investigated and looked at all of our photos and looked at our statements. So they made an allowance because there was really no way to maintain it because it was sealed inside the framework that was there.
You get a second, Bill?
Not yet, but I'm gonna remove the staff part. I'll say Larry and whoever he needs to excavate and explore the second floor.
We've had the jail crew over here a few times. They've been very helpful. I think we can do this without getting any machinery or anything.
Okay, that's my motion.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all raise your right hand.
And
Motion
Larry,
carries.
I think that we should get, it would benefit me to have some sort of an ongoing report of where we're at on this. What you just told us everything you're gonna do. But if I had a summary of kind of what you just said, what you found, what you're doing, what the prognosis is, possible cost is, just kind of a checklist that we can follow as we go along. Because I mean,
Yeah, once you find the problem, come
Yeah.
back and.
you let us know what's kind of, and then,
I'll come back on next
Got all that.
agenda at a minimum and, give you guys an update where we are from here to there.
yeah, I mean, you can update us, but you can build a document and just email it to us also.
Yes.
I mean, other than just coming to be here, but email a document that you just update as you go along. So we kind of know what's going on.
All right, we're gonna jump to 31, review of maintenance department. We're gonna go into executive session under 551.074. Time is 9:29.
I'll come back when we get the troopers out of it.
All right, time's 9:43. No discussion, no actions taken from executive. We're gonna go to number 30, discuss and take action on memorandum of agreement between Walker County and New Waverly 4-H Club.
I asked, Sergeant to be here and give us some information. You back there, Sarge? If you don't mind coming up,
30.
we're on 30. The last time we had this on court, I called Sergeant after court and visited with him a little bit. If there was any safety concerns involving law enforcement that would relate to children. And he gave me some things that I thought really the people in charge up there need to hear prior to us voting on that. So anyway, would you kind of update us on any concerns from the law enforcement side that would be safety concerns for children?
Yeah, sure will. Good morning.
Good morning.
Some of the concerns that kind of concern me, I have a 14-year-old daughter. I want to see her happy. I want to see her in curriculum, school, curriculum, things like that. But our priority with Department of Public Safety is, it's going to be safety. Some of the concerns I have with the individuals, with that's at the scale, one of my main concern is hazardous material trucks that come through there. There's been numerous of times that we had hazmat trucks come through there, and those trucks are leaking. Put them out of service, and then we have to get them to a safe place to where we can make sure that they are taken care of. So that's one of my biggest concerns. Now, that's just the ones that we know of. Once we leave during the day, there's some that park back there. We don't have any knowledge that they're even back there once we leave. So they may be there all night, until we get there. Some of we put out of service 24 hours. So they're gonna be parked back there. Have I had to evacuate my scale with my personnel? Yes, I have.
Because of that, right?
Because of that reason. I'm the last man standing, but unfortunately, the captain go down with the shield, the sergeant go down with the scale.
I appreciate that, Sergeant.
So that being said, that's one of my concerns. One of my other concerns is I get there early in the morning. 3 o'clock in the mornings, trucks are parked back there. There are some kind of, with all respect of the court, there's adult activity that goes on back there. Sometimes it happens during the daytime. Sometimes it happens during the nighttime. I don't know what period, it's just different periods of time. So once we do, we handle it accordingly. Of course, we do what we need to do on the law enforcement side. I don't want anything like that being in the eyes of my 14-year-old daughter and being that close. And then who's to say a majority of, well, I won't say a majority, let me clean this up. A lot of the individuals that we deal with that drive trucks are pedophiles and rapists. They have blue cards. That's one of the main concerns that I would not stand by. I may not be at this scale tomorrow, if you're retired. But for someone to have kids there for I don't know how long, that's a concern of mine. As far as transparency, that's what I bring to you guys. And I don't want to see any kid go through something like that. I will catch a bullet for a kid. Well, pedophiles, rapists, and hazmat leagues, I consider that's a bullet as well, just on a different level. Last thing I want to bring up, beeaparians. Beeaparians, they park back there also, once we let it leave.
What does?
Beeaparians, beekeepers. They park a truck back there, they got bees on them. Blow a horn. What's likely gonna happen? You're gonna ignite the swarm, and then they're gonna go to where the action was at. So that is another major concern for the kids. Like I said, it doesn't have nothing to do with me.
Yeah, we all for the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, but I just want these concerns brought up.
And so those are the kind of concerns that I want to share with you as a court. Make sure that you guys kind of know what goes on there. I brought another trooper with me, well, corporal. He's one of my old troopers. He promoted to corporal. He just joined a new unit. And the unit is the radioactive unit. He specializes in this area, and I'm gonna bring him up, and I want him to share some of the things that's a little bit more detailed, because he specializes in this, if you guys don't mind.
No, that's fine, Sarge. Do what you need to do.
What's his name?
And I appreciate y'all coming today. I didn't give you much notice at all, so.
Kelly, we got the school board that's trying to zoom in and get in.
What is he clicking on the link on the website?
Go ahead, Cole.
Tell them to go to the.
Morning.
Good morning.
As Sergeant said, first and foremost concern for the safety of all the community. I recently joined the radiological nuclear detection unit that DPS has started because we're starting to see more and more radiological and unfortunately some nuclear materials being moved more and more up, especially in Texas. I can tell you that from the conversations we've had with the DOE, a company named Nordian should be starting some shipments to the Port of Houston later this year, which means they'll be shipping them up to North Texas and Central Texas, which could come in this area. And we're going to be responsible for maintaining inspections on those trucks. And fortunately, with trucks, they're going to have breakdowns, they're going to have problems, and we're going to have to put them in safe locations. And at the scale, sometimes we can't get them out of there because of the chemical leaks or radiological radiation that we're going to have to try to mitigate. Anytime you have radiological material, we're going to be looking at all this over a period of what we call hours. Just back in October of this year, HPD, we're equipping our troopers with radiation detectors. HPD officer was off duty, going to work. He started to get an alarm, and once they did some investigation, they actually found some devices that were unaccounted for that came out of South Carolina several years ago in a scrap metal yard, and had been radiating, luckily not towards the freeway, but radiating into the yard itself. And the radiation levels were so high that DOE had to come in and to excavate those materials. So as the sergeant said, the biggest concern from my standpoint and from the safety standpoint with the trucks individually, we're just talking about the equipment, would be the hazardous materials with the inhalation hazards that we have, the chemicals that could be leaking, because anytime we find those, we've got to immediately shut those carriers down and contact emergency crews to get that cleaned up. And we've had that several times at the scale, even in my tenure there for nearly 14, 15 years.
Well, I appreciate y'all's information and, y'all
Yeah,
got any?
and I'll tell you, you know, if this does move forward, then, if you need to shut it down.
Do what y'all have
shut
to
it
do.
down. You know, you won't hear a peep out of me. I'll support anything y'all do to keep them safe.
Sometimes when you have those chemicals, though, you gotta look at the time and place.
Yeah.
And again, we're not against any of this. We just want everybody to be aware of potential
Yeah.
hazards.
Well,
And I appreciate
it brings up a bigger issue too. I mean, we're talking about building this on one side of the road, and the very other side of the road, we got a full school.
Yeah,
You
Right.
know, this facility that we're looking at building is basically a weekend facility, and most of the times the scale's shut down. I understand that you have a holdover, whatever. And if we need to cancel something, then I absolutely get it. But, you know, most of the time the school's open is Monday through, the scales are open. Thank you, the school's open. So when we start talking about safety, we need to think about not just one side, of the road, both sides of the road. Right?
yes, sir.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
anytime
when,
we get something with the ERG, we'd have to start looking at the emergency response guide and seeing what type of chemical, if we have that type of leak, and seeing what those zones are gonna be set up. Sometimes depending on what they are, they could be up to a mile, maybe even 2 miles. Then we have to start looking at wind direction, atmospheric conditions, and figure out where we need to start moving people immediately.
right,
Luckily, so far, that the chemicals that we've had have been set up zones, and it pretty much just encompassed most of our scale and part of that back parking lot. Luckily, at this time, there's nothing in there besides the county putting materials back there from county projects and stuff like that, and nobody was back there.
yeah.
And you speak of the weekend. What about the trucks? The drivers drive so many miles and so many hours that they put themselves out of service at the facility. And then they possibly have the leaks as well. Because even though we're not there, they're gonna utilize the scale. All the hazardous material, they don't wanna go to the truck stops, they full. They don't wanna go to the Loves, they don't wanna come up to the Huntsville. So they just stop back there because they know our schedule. That we normally not gonna be there on the weekend unless we got one trooper that's out, that's working on the weekend. They can go right to citation.
And that goes back to the coordination deal. If we're gonna have the 4-H or the horse club is gonna have an event there, then we may need to have one of our deputies or whatever to tell them, hey, it's time to get down the road, you know? It's more, I think it's more of a coordination deal than that's just my opinion. I'm just.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming and I can't let you leave without shaking your hand, sorry. I'm gonna go down the ship over. Good seeing you. Thank you all for coming. Next slide.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Thank y'all for coming.
No, I mean, it doesn't take action.
Still talking.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Brandon wants to probably talk to me.
It's gonna be to approve the memorandum of agreement between Walker County and the New Urban 4-H.
One concern I got, Brandon, looking at it is I see deeds and all that in it.
Yeah.
And what I don't want to see without basic court action or whatever down the road is encroaching on what's already there with the weight station
There's a fence dividing it.
already.
There's already a fence there dividing. Yes, sir. It's, as far as we can tell, it's right on the property.
Okay, well, if it wasn't on the property line, then it would still need a court action to do something.
No, it's on the
Different.
property line,
Okay.
as far as we can tell.
And who actually signs for the 4-H club? Who's the signature?
So I had this discussion with Ms. Tisman, who's our ag extension agent for the 4-H. There's a list that she had, and I thought I included it in the backup. It's on that list as well. But she's an authorized representative. It's assigned to that.
I don't see it.
No, we didn't have no list.
She is on that list, and I was gonna ask her to sign it. It's gonna be the fair and stuff. She would be the one that's signed, or she agreed, agreed with us.
And the Huntsville 4-H club will be able to use all this and let it all done.
Kids in the county.
Okay,
I mean, obviously, the new Waverly put up the funding for it. If they had a conflict, that could be priority, but.
I understand that, but
The horse clubs talked about using it, the archery club, those are one of
Yeah.
the clubs, they're all excited about using it. Mr. Wilson with the school, if they have an event when they're building trailers and they can build a trailer on their
Yeah.
ag mechanic still. We talked about, if we have a hurricane and we need to store cattle or large
Yeah.
animals there, then not a problem.
under maintenance over there,
Okay, I put that in there.
I just want to make sure you know that we're talking for your budget or anything other than
Well-
that, you're gonna bring it to court.
So when we were talking about all this on the maintenance side of it, I put it under precinct 4 commissioner if they need a load or if we need to go mow because
Yeah.
we still retain the property. If we, I don't know, need to haul off the shavings or something, I didn't want to have to come to court every time to ask you, hey, Ronnie, can I haul up the horse manure from the horse show?
Hey, I'm good with that as long as it's coming out of your budget.
You know what I mean? So that's why that's in there to, in that deal. Now, anything that we're gonna spend money on that. I mean,
A major expense, you would bring it to court.
absolutely,
Okay,
but to move haul a load of shavings over there or whatever, then, you know, it I
Yeah.
shouldn't have.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean-
we kind of do the same thing with the comp center back there and several other things
Yeah.
around there. I mean, if they got a pothole or something, you go patch it, you know, what I mean.
Right,
As long as it's nothing serious. you
Right.
know.
that's the,
Or like Ronnie said, you operate within your means.
that's the intent of that.
Yeah, and I'm fine with moving forward with it. I don't really have a problem moving forward, you know, because I want to support the kids too, but wanted to bring forward the concerns that I talked to the sergeant about a month and a half ago, since he hadn't been brought into the picture at all.
I talked to him about that. He had those concerns with me, and he and I have talked about them before. And you know, I understand not wanting to have it there because of that, but again, across the road, we've got
Yeah, I mean,
In a
and
school,
uh,
we got a football field in a school.
football field, a school, fixing to have a softball field, a baseball field, all right there. So if we have a problem, you know, I mean, we might need to work something out with our emergency management to have a better plan in place, but I'm sure Butch has already got one, but
yeah,
again, we've got tons of people right there in one area.
hey, I'm fine. You
Yeah.
go
Well,
forward.
as long as there's, like I said, there's.
Just want everybody aware.
Well, yeah, and if they shut it down, you know,
You
they
do.
shut it down for a reason.
I'm on board
They,
with
they
that.
can all get mad, but they're gonna have to get over it.
All right, I'll give you a second on your motion.
Judge,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, I know I've reviewed the agreement at one point, but you mentioned numerous organizations that intend or would like to use the facility. Who's responsible for scheduling?
4-H. I do not want that headache in my office.
Is that in the agreement?
I do not see that. I saw something in there, but I don't think it said anything about scheduling.
I think there should be some wording in there. It can be a second. sheet
It needs
or
to go
something.
through somebody.
It needs there because you need to have it, but a protocol and a process that once it's on the books, it can't just be bumped by somebody else. Scheduled. Kind of some sort of a policy if you got on the books. You should be.
But they cover just
My
about
thought
everything
is
else.
that policy, I don't want to get into us. I don't want my office to be the scheduling.
No,
deal. This-
definitely not. Definitely
We're,
not.
we're leasing this to not leasing is not the correct word. We're allowing them to use this with standing,
Right.
but
It's their facility.
it's theirs. They can kind of do whatever they schedule it. They have, all the conflicts is their headache.
I think I can buy that.
I mean, and actually.
Yeah, it was
so-
between
so-
us and
so
the
let me
4-H.
expand on that. The 4-H, we talked about a lot of things, but one of the good things is, we have a no alcohol policy like here, so nobody's gonna wanna, because that property still was retained by us. We have no alcohol policy on the facilities, right? So that cuts out any of the,
Anything else? should
any
be-
of that other stuff, if it,
Yeah,
you know,
other than kid oriented.
other than kid oriented. If it's 4-H sanctioned, you know, we talked about Walker County Horse Club, we talked about the Archery Club, those are all 4-H sanctioned people. They operate as countywide. But the scheduling needs, we need to let that stay with the New Waverly 4-H Club.
I'm fine with it. They need to do it.
Yeah.
You don't want no headache like that. So.
No, sir.
So we're-
Go ahead and address the provision in the agreement concerning insurance.
Sir,
Could you address the provisions of the agreement concerning insurance?
so we have a provision in here with insurance that says right here, the 4-H club shall be responsible for maintaining appropriate insurance to protect the respective interests of both parties in the premises and property on these premises. County shall be named on all insurance policies of 4-H club as an additional insured party. Proof of insurance shall be submitted on execution of the MOA and on an annual basis. All participants using property and facility who are not members of the 4-H club shall possess primary and non-participatory insurance coverage that identifies county.
Brandon, it says appropriate. We never really call it out though. I mean, they need to follow our guidelines, which means the general liability and anything that we require of anybody else, I assume.
And because this is,
Excuse me, when they submit their insurance and we look over it, we will approve it as written, or we will require them to have the appropriate insurance.
Okay.
Any other comments?
I think I'm good.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. All right, we'll go back to number 20. Discuss and take action on reassigning vehicle to Constable Precinct 2.
Well, maybe further down the list, Constable 4 will have a vehicle added in another agenda item. Looking out for you two.
Thank you, sir.
And I appreciate all the kind words you've ever said, if there ever was any. Nevertheless, I mean, you got a list of all the constable's vehicles here. One only has one. Two technically only has one at this point, and there's one in Constable Central. And would like to move that one back under him so he can get his program started and up and running before budget starts again. And he hasn't shown us how the program works, so we're trying to get something where he could get that going. And Steve has got one extra car also. At the time, until we move further down the list, Gene doesn't have an extra vehicle. Is that correct, Gene? Okay, so if all this goes the way I think it's gonna go, everybody will wind up with an extra vehicle with an exception of John. And my thoughts on that was, I mean, out of 3 constables that have extra vehicles, if something does happen to his truck, surely one of them would loan him a vehicle.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I think anyway. I think that should work fine. I mean, surely somebody can let him have one while his truck's in the stop. So I'd like to see the court move the one from Central underneath Constable 2.
That's your motion.
That's my motion.
I'll second that.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 21. Discuss and take action on reevaluating EMS contract with UTMB concerning 911 calls at TDC units located in Warwick County.
Well, the reason I put this on is kind of a trickle effect. And generally, and I hadn't been exempt from it either, but it generally happens to the newest members of court without calling names. But you make phone calls and stuff, and you indicate you're representing the court when you truly are not. You know, I had to learn that the hard way. And so if you're gonna look at contracts and you want to do it underneath the umbrella of the court, put it on court and let the court say, yeah, okay, we need to look at that contract. You know, we dealt with this particular contract back in whatever year it was, 14, 13, 12 or whatever. And we did the same thing. I mean, we kind of went and visited with UTMB, TDCJ, everybody involved, and had John Neighbors was here at the time. And I think it was myself, John Neighbors, and I believe Judge Pierce. Done everything we could possibly do to make it better, but we didn't do any good whatsoever. It was fighting a battle that you cannot win. So all I'm saying is, you know, if you're going to represent the court, you need to ask the court basically, hey, do we want to go out and do this? Or tell the folks that you're dealing with that, hey, I'm just one member of court. That's what I do. I'm just a member of Commissioner's Court, and I'm looking at this for me. But don't represent the court.
So you're referring to me. I got a call from the head of purchasing saying that somebody was trying to get a hold of them. Y'all signed an agreement in 2014. Y'all voted on it to be reevaluated in 22. Nobody from EMS has been contacted back after several attempts to contact somebody at TDC. I called TDC asking for a copy of a new contract or whatever contract they're going by. If that's considered negotiating a contract,
Well, that's
then I'm guilty.
Yeah, that's not
But
the part we're talking about. No, but
No, I'm telling you my side
okay, go ahead.
because y'all hadn't heard it. I sent an email to TDC, Amy, what was her name? Rankin, thank you. Because she hasn't been emailing Rachel back. I sent an email saying, can you please consider this? Next thing I know, I called Reba, asked for a number. I didn't call the guy and talk to him. He called me and said, y'all are looking for a contract. We don't do contracts. So we're talking about negotiating a contract that UTMB says they don't have a contract with us. So I don't know where this came about. I started negotiating a contract and representing the county. I called and sent a message to TDC asking for a copy of a contract. Is that what we're considering?
Well,
Negotiations?
If you're representing the court,
To ask for a contract?
I always say, here's how I identify myself. I am one vote on Commissioners Court. And y'all send emails with both y'all's name.
To who?
And send it back up.
Y'all,
It's both your names are on an email somewhere in there.
I didn't see that one.
Through UTMB.
I have an email that you sent to UTMB.
There is an email with you identified as the judge and him identified as.
Yeah, where's that at?
But all I'm saying is if you're gonna identify, identify as an individual, one person on the court and not representing the court.
it's showing it out.
It's in there somewhere.
Well, the deal is, if it needs to be, if the contract needs to be redone.
There is no contract.
Well, what is
That's
it-
what UTMB's telling us. There's no contract.
What is this about?
The one from 14 that expired in 15.
Okay, but it's still something that's existing.
No, it says it's good for 12 months only. That's what Rachel's been trying to get a hold of somebody for TDC to call her back.
But this is not just a county problem, it is a state deal. I mean, UTMB is over all the medical for the state sectors in the prison system.
Right.
So if it's something that needs to be looked at,
They have a $1.5 billion contract with TDC to do
it
this.
needs to be done on a bigger scale. I mean, bigger than a county scale.
Right.
If we're gonna look at redoing contracts. Now are they gonna pay Medicare rates, or if they do or don't, that's a Rachel question. I don't know.
It's not
exactly
really,
what they're paying.
it's not really a racial question.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
she knows what they're paying, or Miss Patricia knows what they're paying. If they're not paying medical rates, Medicare rates, then we need to visit with them. That kind of gets off course a little bit on this, but, it's gonna be something that if it's
About
gonna,
EMS contract with UTMB right here.
Mhm.
We can talk about it all.
yeah, I understand, but it's still, it's on a bigger scale than this. This is not, you're not gonna be able to, one county's not gonna be able to negotiate the contract with UTMB for
Right.
that. It's gonna be done on a state deal. It's done legislatively.
See,
You're gonna have to get your state reps involved, if you want more money.
that's what I'm not, that's what, is Rachel, are you on?
Yes, she is.
That's not.
Yes, I'm
that's
here.
not- That's what I have confusion about. Are we getting paid Medicare rates now?
So we are getting paid, that locality 99 Medicare fee schedule under rural. So we're getting paid a third of what we charge the public. So there is no current contract that I could find. Nobody could kind of give me a straight answer. I think we're all in agreement that there is no current contract with them. From what I have gathered, from talking to our billing company and a couple other billing companies that deal with agencies that also have TDC prisons, if there's not a current contract in place dictating what we're going to charge, we can charge them our regular ambulance fees. Now, whether or not they're going to pay us that full amount, I don't know. I guess we would just have to see. I talked to
So
Emergicon.
Who tells
talked to
them to charge our rates?
So Emergicon has had this old fee schedule from 2009 on file since they were started by the county, and
the EMS department in 2020. So since that was in place, and I didn't know about it until about 6 months ago when I realized like, hey, TDC is not paying the same as everybody. They said, well, when you sent the approved new fee schedule over that was approved in May of 22, they didn't change that because they had that old contract in place. Now, they did say if you want us to change it and start charging them the new fees, all I have to do is email them and tell them to do that. But that's when I started kind of looking around to see, do we have a contract? Do we not? How that one got on file with Emergicon, I'm not really sure. But that's what they have and that's what they've been going off of. And I verified with them last week that they are paying out this Medicare fee schedule. I'm not quite sure what year that one was updated, if it's the newest one or what. But that's kind of where I'm at. I've talked to a couple other EMS chiefs and directors that have kind of more than one prison. And our kind of idea is to reach out to our local RACs and kind of get a compilation of how many TDC calls are being run and possibly create some kind of work group within the RAC to see if collectively we can get something changed with TDC. So that's kind of where we're at.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, my point is basically 5 members up here, unless the court specifically authorizes you to represent it as a court, you represent yourself, is all I'm saying. And we got a problem with that, and then we got a problem. So that's kind of what
I don't have a problem with that.
And I tell you, I always tell them I'm only one member of Commissioner's Court. That's what I tell them every time I do. I'm one person, one vote, and I don't represent the court. I represent what I'm looking at. So anyway, that's my point. Anyway.
But even prior to that, like in this case, we had a question, and actually goes to number 23 that I'll talk on mine. If that conversation came up, I think it comes to the court first for us to talk about it and find out what we don't know. It makes us look, I'm gonna use the word silly, for lack of a better term. If 2 are sending something and then another one contacts that same person asking a question, it looks like we don't know what's going on up here amongst ourselves. So this is a pretty huge thing. Whether there is a contract to be had or it's just adopt fees, we don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. That would be something I would like to know up front. Hey, we just found out that our contract expired in 2015, which is before I got here, and we need to see what we can do about it. I mean, if they won't pay us more, that'd be awesome. If there's money to come our way, that's awesome. But I know nothing about it until I got all this backup and stuff. So not knowing puts us in a bad spot. This is one that could have been a workshop for us. It could be a contract negotiation. We could do it in an executive session and then give guidance to somebody to call and say, hey, here's what we know. And so at least we all know. So that's then that eliminates hi, this is the judge, but I'm just Colt today. But if you call and say, hey, Colt, the court talked and this is our concerns and ideas we'd like to visit with you, then it's a real life court action.
So I can't pick up the phone and say, hi, this is Colt. I would like a copy of our current contract so I can review it.
That's not a problem. Maybe I'm not being clear.
That's what I
My
did.
mom might have to come out at me. Well, I'm not going to say that's exactly what you did, but I mean,
All right.
I'm just making a point,
Okay.
and that's kind of where I'm at on it. So I'm going to leave it
Well,
at that.
and on top of that, I know he's talking about me, and that's okay too. I'll be very vocal about anything about that goes down there, and I'll leave that alone. But how can you have a workshop if you don't have any information?
Well, the information we had.
Until you find out until you see, okay, there's a problem. Here's Rachel's stack of stuff. We said there's a problem. Oh, Well, I didn't ask for a contract, but I did reach out to Coriel Health. They're the guy, we have 7 prisons, Coriel has 6. Coriel gets reimbursed at a rate of 200% of Medicare. That's from their director of their hospital district. Yeah, until you find information, then what are you gonna have a workshop about? You gotta reach out and get the information. Now, I wasn't representing Commissioner's Court, I was representing Brandon Decker.
I think that this is a contract negotiation. I think this would be a good executive conversation to have rather than out here like this.
Well, I don't know, leave it up.
Yeah, I'd rather be out here.
You know, it's a lot of this goes on, you know, I hear stories about negotiations and with new buildings, you know, on both sides. And everybody is guilty. And if you're gonna do it right. The judge can appoint a committee, and that way it takes us all out. What's gonna happen here is you're gonna get caught in open meetings. And it's gonna get us all in a bind. And that's about where I'll leave it. I mean, the judge has the opportunity to appoint a committee if there is something like this that we need to go through. And if you want to be safe, then he appoints 2 commissioners, or a judge and a commissioner on there.
Yeah.
You bring in EMS and you start talking UTMB, or you start going through your legislature. Same thing on all this other stuff. You know, there's no reason for 2 commissioners. If you're gonna do this stuff, do it on your own. You know, don't buddy up with somebody, because that's what's gonna get us all in a bind.
To circle back to this one, if we knew that our contract expired in 2015, that's big enough for a court decision. You can call Rachel, EMS director, rather than use her name, EMS director, and say, what do you know? And bring that, we're gonna have a court discussion and let's talk about it. And then find out where we're gonna go from there. Then we can figure out, we'll do that, because hey, let's contact these other people, let's find out what we can do and stuff like that.
Y'all knew it went out in 22 because y'all voted on it to renegotiate. Here's the minutes. May 23rd, 22. We're a month shy from being 2 years ago,
Well, I don't remember everything.
and nobody's been in touch with them.
Okay, yeah, well, I don't remember everything.
When we talked to Rachel, we billed them $718,000, and when she did her figures, it should have been almost $3 million.
Yeah.
You've been coming for 6 months trying to get an ambulance and arguing over 900,000.
Right.
We could have put 2 more ambulances on the
I'm not
street,
saying it's a bad thing. It's a good thing for us to catch. What I'm
but we
saying
gotta
is-
have a copy of a contract they're going by on pay scale.
and I don't disagree with you.
So,
Every 911 call is ours regardless of where it's at.
yeah,
And
we'll
we're
get
gonna
that.
answer it. If we get paid for it, great. If we don't, well, that's the way it has to be.
Yeah.
Whether it's.
So y'all wanna
Inmate-
leave it up with the Emergent Con and negotiate this contract after 23 months?
No, I want us to do a workshop so we can all get on the same page and find out what is out there, and have Rachel bring us her information, let Emergent Con bring us their information, and bring the TDCJ and stuff like that, so we can talk as a group. And then we'll establish a direction of the court, so whoever talks has the talking points that the court agreed on. That's all we're saying, on a big thing. You can ask somebody what the weather is in the next county, I don't care about that. But like I said, this is a $3 million conversation all of a sudden. I think that's important enough that we know up front that we're having that conversation.
Anybody got anything else?
Now, I'm good with moving on.
We'll have a workshop in 2 weeks. Pass on 21. 22, discuss and take action to implement annual performance evaluations on department heads that work under direct supervision of the court.
I guess we kind of had that going on today to a certain degree. I don't know if you've already started something good or not.
I just bring them in here to let y'all discuss with them and
With Larry.
review. So we're going through them.
Do
We're
we-
2 down.
We just want to let you just put them
I was
on
just gonna
court.
bring them in as we go and let y'all ask them questions. You've got concerns.
Well, then I don't
I'm
have to-
treating them all the same. We're bringing them in, have executive session, and
All right, well, I'm good with that, as long as we look at them at least.
we're
once a
all
year.
coming through them.
Okay, all right,
And then we're gonna follow up in 6 months with what we told them to do.
all right, sounds good. I'll go with that. I like that. Yeah.
23, we're
Pass,
gonna pass on
pass.
it. 23, discuss the interactions of members of Commissioners Court with other entities, county employees, and elected officials.
I had a 2-part deal, but we pretty much covered the second part. So I still may do it. I read it, I wrote it down, so I'm just going to read it so I don't lose my track there. Communication with coworkers, constituent developers, and other entities. First, the importance of the ability of everyone to have access to the entire court is extremely important. Every citizen has a right to a voice, to be heard, to take their message to whoever can legally hear them have their conversation. With that said, twice in the last 60 days, I called a developer to ask questions about their project and was informed that they were told that since they had spoken to 2 members of the court, that they were not allowed to talk to any more members without violating the Open Meetings Act. So the first developer, we talked about it, clarifying the rule that a member of the court cannot discuss a topic with other members of the court that would constitute a quorum, and could come to the court for decision, discussion and action later. The burden is on the member of the court to be sure that doesn't happen. So when a person says, hey, I want to go talk to every single commissioner and give them my idea, we as commissioners, and step in when I'm wrong, are allowed to take that document, that idea, that whatever, and say, thank you very much. Our burden is to say, if you talk to another commissioner, or even if you haven't, I don't need to know what any other commissioner thinks of this. You come talk to me, I give you my input, and you do what you want to do with that. But these two, and it bothered me because we had talked about one, the home builder New Waverly was told not to talk to anybody. And we talked about it then when I talked to the solar guy, and he said he was specifically told not to talk to any commissioners about it. So I actually informed him, no, that's not incorrect. That's not correct. You can go talk to whoever you want to. And he actually said he came and talked to you when you told me you couldn't talk to him after
Because he
that.
started telling me what you had talked to him about. And
So
I've already met with Mr. Commissioner White about all that.
Okay, so at that point, though, that's when you just tell him, don't tell me what the other commissioner said, give me your sales pitch. But he said you sent him out. So that bothered me that happened, because we deprived a guy an opportunity to pass along some information that may or may not have changed the course of the action. I don't, but it happened. So all commissioners can hear any discussions, and I think we're obligated to do so we can make informed decisions at court. Limiting the ability of anyone to talk to the entire court is unfair to them as they attempt to provide as much information as they can and answer as many questions as they can prior to their court presentation, which is often 4, 5, or 6 minutes. Up here, that's all they get to speak, like on the solar thing, a multi-million-dollar thing, and he got 5 or 6 minutes in front of us. I'm going to read the second part. We've already kind of covered it. I'm going to read it anyways. I had it. It's important for the court to know that if 1 or 2 members decide to visit another entity, speak with an elected official or department head, they cannot represent themselves as bringing the will of the court to the discussion. Our relationships with each are important, and it is also important that the court meet and discuss any ideas, negotiations, or objections prior to them being delivered to the affected entity. I've been asked questions by friends at Sam Houston State, the city of Huntsville, some elected officials that I didn't have the answers to because I wasn't informed prior to the events and didn't know what was going on that had taken place. Each of us at this court are just one of 5, and unless we get 2 other members of the court to agree via an approved agenda item, we should not represent ourselves as individuals. We should represent ourselves as individual selves and nothing more than a private citizen when talking to entities mentioned above. This kind of just tagged on to the one that Ronnie started up over yonder. So it's just, it's super important to me that we act as a team and that the message coming from this board is not necessarily united, but at least approved, or what at the worst. So there's no action on that. It's just a discussion.
All right.
24, discuss and take action on new contract for uniforms from Centos for Road and Bridge.
Like the change from bright yellow shirts to a darker color shirt is because the yellow shirt shows every speck and spot, and they look like something we found under a bridge after a while.
I noticed that.
Yeah, they look bad, don't it?
I
So
do look bad over there.
they reflect. They still reflect. So anyway, it's all out of my funds. So my motion is to approve the new contract for uniforms for Centos from Road and Bridge 3 budgeted funds.
This a contract?
Yeah, you have to contract with them.
Okay. Moving second, all in favor, say aye. Raise your hand. 25, discuss and take action to receive grant funds from HGAC in the amount of $32,000 for the heavy trash tire collection grant.
This is just to officially accept and get on the books the $32,000 that Brandon and I were awarded based on a presentation he made, actually, to HGAC. They gave us 32,000. We split it. Actually, he gets quite a bit more because his event is much larger, but this is accepted on behalf of the county. So my motion is to approve agenda item number 25.
Second.
Moving second, all raise your hand. 26, discuss and take action to transfer FAS number 12628 from the Sheriff's Department Constable 4.
Okay, they got it's got a little over 100,000 miles. It's got a transmission that's tore out in it. We can use this to fix it. We use this to solve some of our problems within our constable. So my motion is going to be is to transfer 12628 from sheriff to constable 4.
I'll second that.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 27, discuss and take action to repair, replace transmission on FAS number 12628 in the amount of $3,450 from the general fund contingency.
And this is the car we just moved over, needs a transmission. We had 2 quotes. That was the one from Walker County, WC, Walker County Transmission. To replace the transmission in that car. That's gonna be my motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 28, discuss and take action to install graphic package from C4 Graphics in the amount of $1,500 on FAS number 126287 from general funds.
It says wrap. Wrap is that graphics.
It's graphics. They call it wrap, but it's graphics.
If there's a typo there, it should be, because it's the same car that you're talking about.
It is.
12687.
Thank
Or 128.
No 7 on the end. No 7.
Just bringing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I was fixing that.
My motion is to approve item 28 is written.
Read that number out.
As number 12628.
I'll
Thank you.
second that.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. 29, discuss and take action to extend health insurance for an employee on workers' comp.
We're in charge territory for me almost, but I have an employee that was hurt on the job. Been with the county 16 years, and 8 months. He wants to come back to work. He's just taking a little longer because he's older. Our policy says that we can only pay health insurance for that employee for 6 months. I'd like to extend that until the court will let me. I want to extend it until he comes back to work. He's a good employee.
I understand exactly where you're going. We had an employee that fell through a roof out there in New Waverly, and I tried my level best to make this happen, and it wasn't in the county's best interest then. You know, so, and I know who you're talking about, and I wished I could say yes, but I just can't because of what happened then.
Or
You know,
what'll happen.
Or what'll happen down the road if we do it for one, we gotta do it for everybody, but you know, I mean, the guy that fell through never come back to work. You know, so anyway, that's, you know, I hate it. I honestly do. I mean, I wish we could do it, but
Miss Patricia, have we ever done it
You know.
before other than that? I remember the one Ronnie's talking about.
I'm not aware, but the one that would be most aware of that and know would be Amy.
Yeah.
And Amy's online.
So
She's supposed to be.
I would hesitate to answer.
I understand. I didn't know Amy was out there, so we'll ask her.
Not.
She's not.
She's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, her daughter had a doctor's appointment or something, but,
I mean, it's hard, Brandon. It really
I
is.
agree. And I agree because it's,
but just because we've done something in the past, doesn't mean we can't do it now.
but that means that if you change it now, it means you change it.
If not, just change the
I
policy.
want to change the policy. I want to.
It is changing the policy because the next guy comes in
Yeah.
and you have to explain why, how come you gave it to him and you didn't give it to him? So it has, if it's on there, it's just, I mean, a lot of places cut everything loose after 6 months of workman's comp. You're just not coming back. They'll put you as an employee after 6 months on workers' comp and work with a disability kind of a deal. So, I mean, it's rule. It's not, I mean, it's a tough rule, but if you bend it for anybody, you have to eliminate it for everybody. If you don't have any criteria to bend, this is just the rule.
Anyway, I just tell you my thoughts. I mean, and I know your employee, he's a good guy and all that, and I hate it, I honestly do. Because he got hurt on the job and it makes you want to do more for him if you can.
Do we never provide any, we use the word variance to any of our policies?
I can't variance on this.
You got to be careful when you variance off, because you're not variancing, you are changing it.
Yeah.
Because the next guy's going to come in and all he's going to do is point to April 8, 2024 and say, why am I different than that employee? So you changed it.
So if you're gonna do it, you might as well just change the policy and do it for everybody.
I had one fall in September and was on workman's comp, and she had ended up medically retiring because she is still not able to come back to work. And I mean, that's how she had to mitigate the problem of not having insurance. Or before her insurance was up with the county.
Yeah, I think the other one, we knew he wasn't coming back. Who knows about this? I don't know. I would like to visit with Amy about it. So
You gonna bring it back?
if you want my help, you need to bring it back.
Pass,
No guarantees, but
pass on 29.
Yeah, it'd be better to pass, unless if we get more information.
All right, planning development, number 32, discuss and take action on Lee Ryan Robertson request for variance to section 4.18 of the Walker County subdivision regulations regarding requirements right of way of plat number 2023-0513, replat of lots 1501, 1502, 1503, 1504, 1505, and 1507, section 2 of the Harmon Creek subdivision. That's all I'm gonna read.
That's a move.
The variance request is similar to the one we had before. We're gonna come back and address the policy at some point. In the future, they're just asking to leave the right of ways that were in place in the original plat in place.
Yeah, and this is a fully developed neighborhood. There's not going to be road widening in there. What's in there works just fine. So I have no objection to it. So I'll make the motion to approve agenda item 32 as presented.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. 33, public hearing concerning plat number 2023-053, replat of lots, replat of lots 1501, 1502, 1503, 1504, 1505, and 1507. Time is 10:36. Anyone here to speak up on that behalf? Would you like to say anything?
I've been having the fence for 15 years and they want me to move it. I don't think it's right.
What's your name? Can you say it for the court?
Trey Robertson, just Trey Robertson.
All right.
Time's 10:37. We'll close public hearing. Number 34, discuss and take action on plat number 2023-053, replat of lots 1501, 1502, 1503, 1504, 1505, and 1507.
I'll make the motion to approve agenda item 34 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 35, discuss and take action on Peach Creek, Texas LLC, Chris Wren request for additional action and or clarification on variance granted on 11/20/23.
So this variance was already granted by Commissioners Court previous. The request from the developer in the original variance request, there was a condition on plat be filed within 12 months. I think there was some confusion during the court session on the developer's behalf. In his mind, I think filed was something different than what was, I believe, in the court line. which was actually completed and the plat being filed with the county clerk's office. He's asked for that 12 months to be extended to 36 months from that same date. Time to get the plans together, to get plans approved by the current board for the new applicant, transfer the application and get it approved for filing.
So my motion is gonna be to approve this to, change it from originally was 12 months from initial date, 36 months from initial date. You got 36 months. And that means put it in.
Get it done means they would the plat being filed, approved and filed. Okay. That was the original motion that was included as contingency on the approval. He's just asking for that timeline to be extended from 12 to 36 months from that same day.
That's what my motion is.
And so,
He's here.
When you say that's my motion, I'm kind of confused on exactly what verbiage you want. Sorry.
So the verbiage just needs to be that we approve,
Updating the condition.
updating condition for 36 months
From the original.
from the original,
The plat to be filed.
for the plat to be filed.
Is that
Yes.
and so what is the reason for the very extended period of time?
This particular variance is for the entrances.
Mhm.
And one of our other variances that sort of coincides with this variance. That variance stated that we had until this coming November to assign our plat.
Okay,
And what happened with this, just in the previous quarters, I think we just had miscommunication, my misinterpretation of what was filed and what was reported. This understated that it needed to be reported by the same date that our other plat can be assigned. And so that's just not realistic in our world. So we're asking for this to be extended to be filed by the 36th month, which to us, that's recorded.
Yeah.
Court says filed, we say recorded. So that was the misinterpretation.
I don't have no problem with it. I'm good with it.
Yeah, the motion, I'll second his motion.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Number 36, discuss and take action on plat number 2024-003, Jeffrey W. Aldoffer subdivision, William Winters League, 853.
I know. This is the plat that you guys previously took action on to grant. Variance. Variance was granted to allow the running of lot one being a portion of the original parent tract, but not including the entire parent tract. The other portions of the parent tract are not included in the variance and will have to be brought in compliance through a separate process. But this is not being brought back to you guys for
Approve.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 37, discuss and take action on Simco Group LLC, Brian K. Sims, request for variance to section 3.36 of the Walker County subdivision regulations regarding TCEQ groundwater certification requirements.
So this is mine. I know before we get the groundwater speech. This fell in before the rules changed in January.
the application.
They're asking to do the same thing that we've done to the more just recently. That's why Blue Line is here.
That's correct.
So,
But-
So what do they want to do? Water well?
They want to use an alternate method. Your representative. Give me.
Zach, we hate you had to sit through
Zach.
all this.
I get here. Hold up the water.
Watching them might have mold.
It's not that.
I'm Joe Sherwin, New Beverly resident. I was taking this on. All they're looking to do is do water wells on each. And he's not looking to do anything differently. Up until. So all the groundwater are required in the past for every other. The other lots of things. He won't do the same thing, he just doesn't want to go through the extra step, of getting the TCQ. Basically below the ground. Bunch of wells, observations, all those sorts of things, he wants to do what has been done for the subdivision. That's his purpose.
And
we've talked to Zach a little bit. I don't think that he's gotten all the way through getting the final confirmation from. Yeah, but that's part of what he's going to. He's going to have to do that either way.
So Zach, where is there water there? Plenty of it? For all these water wells? I always ask you this. You know, I'm against that many water wells anyway in one spot.
Holland. Zach Holland with the Blue Bonnet GCD. To answer your question specifically, haven't reviewed the plat and the information provided yet. A lot of it because I didn't put the what y'all wanted to do. You know, in general summary, the goal and the purpose of the GAC is to ensure adequate groundwater supplies are available to platted subdivisions choosing to pursue individual wells instead of centralized systems. The approach the district has taken is to more specifically advise the minimum well depth and construction in consideration of the cumulative impact of the concentration of wells. Again, to address your point on yes, there's physical water there, but again, what does that mean in the scope of whatever this subdivision actually looks like? This serves a significant benefit to the court, the county, the developer, future property owners, as well as the district. Providing this level of information to all parties is essential to establishing best management practices and the most informed decision-making. The district is also working currently with TCEQ in this weird limbo area we find ourselves in with new statute requirements that technically have not changed, altered, or addressed not only the legislative language, but the more pertinent issues within TCEQ guidance and their efforts to update the GAC and provide further guidance in light of the legislative changes implemented by Senate Bill 2440. Walker County has been several years ahead of these changes, which again, the district greatly appreciates. We also understand the frustrations of policy changes and being forced to react and respond after the fact with zero to minimum guidance moving forward as y'all find yourselves in now. This court has applied sound reasoning and logic to provide and rely on the best available science and use of best management practices in considering, planning, and management the growth of the county for several years. Blue Bonnet GCD will continue to provide assistance as requested and appreciates your continued efforts. Specifically in reference to this specific request, based on the information provided, evaluating minimum well depth and advisement in deed restrictions is recommended and encouraged, similar to what we've done before, and we certainly stand ready to help you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. The minimum well depth being memorialized in this manner ensures all parties are accountable and agreeable to one another.
Okay. So Andy, how many of these do we have left out there? I'll tell you why, because this thing was a year old already, all this. So, I mean, are they just sitting on this development? And now all of a sudden we've had a change and just because we need more, they're trying to move forward again?
There was a statutory change that went into effect January 1st.
Yeah.
That mandates what used to be something that a court may adopt, and our court had adopted it.
Yeah.
But has allowed for variances in a couple of additional cases to use the alternate analysis. Help me out with what the alternate analysis is. Thice analysis.
Yes.
So Thice analysis in lieu of completing the entirety of the TCEQ water availability study. It's been allowed in a couple of cases. It's been, and the restrictions that have been placed on it is that they provide that analysis, that the court authorizes the release of the data that's needed from the Blue Water at no cost to us, Blue Bonnet Ground Water District at no cost to us. The developer performs the analysis and submits that back with recommended minimum well depths for that site. And then those well depths are recorded on the face of the plat as a note. And deed restriction. They limit those to a single well per lot. And that's what's been done on the two previous ones. I think that's what this person's seeking. This application came in just before the January 1st rule change. I don't know that I have any other ones in the wings. There are some other applications that are in process that may end up here, but not big ones. Might be some small ones out there, because the new rule as it's written doesn't exclude by size. There's a limitation of 10 and less that allows the court some additional elbow room as far as making actions, but it doesn't exclude anything from the requirement, which is, going to be interesting.
Will it exclude family subdivisions?
So as long as there's no plat required, so anything that can get an exception to the plating requirement, because the statute's tied to plat. But we have a lot of small plats that are 2, 3, 4 lot plats. And it would impact those. It's the legislative change, we had nothing to do with it.
We get to black out them.
Oh, yeah.
The ball has been squarely passed to you guys.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So nothing else be left out there. I mean, this report was done, like I said, almost a year ago.
Oh, the report that's included is an example report. That is not the report on this property. Let me be clear.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes a difference.
That as an example, that's a report they got from somewhere on what this looks like if it's done. That's not the report that was done for this subdivision.
Yeah, this property just at the end of last year.
This application came in to us at December.
Okay.
They're proposing to do a similar analysis on this property in lieu of the TCEQ groundwater.
And just to add clarification to that, so the report that you got, that was a report that y'all had accepted for another subdivision, and what he wants to do is not go outside of what y'all have seen before. He wants to do exactly what you've seen before, to the level that you've seen before, to the level that you've approved.
And essentially, it's gonna be the same report because it's across the street.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you had more wells right there close again.
Now, I will also add this, the graphic that you guys have on here. This is a very preliminary graphic of what they're thinking about doing. They did limit themselves to the number of lots in their application, but this has not been approved, so there's no action on this actual lot geometry today. We're just talking about number of wells and whether or not they can use an alternative form of submittal for the well water.
Yeah. How many wells is it, Andy?
They're proposing 15 lots, not to exceed 15 lots. Is that correct?
This is the one that had, what, 7 or 9 lots before, but we told him no because it was needed a variance on every lot because the depth to width ratio was off. He was in there 2 weeks ago.
Oh, it's the same place.
Yeah, same place.
Yeah, it originally had longer, narrower, deeper lots, and several of those, in his imagining, have been converted to flag tracks.
Right, and more lots. Because it didn't meet the shape.
So, again, you can look at this because it's a frame of reference for the size of track and the number of lots, but this has not been approved or even submitted for formal approval at this time. I think they're trying to get this variance to see whether or not the court would be willing to do this before making a decision to move forward on the rest.
Well, we started it. I don't have no problem moving forward with it. Like I said, the only thing that bothers me about this whole little ordeal is I don't mind holding the bigger developers to it, but you talk 3 or 4 lots where somebody's trying to break up some.
Yeah, they can't.
They can't afford to do this. So I don't know. Maybe they'll discuss it in 2 more years, figure something out. But okay.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
on
It'll be
us
worse
on
in 2
something.
years.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you need the motion to say, Andy?
The approval would be to approve the variance to use the alternative dice analysis, THISS.
Hold on, approve the
I read
variance.
this whole dang thing thinking this was
So
a
it
report.
allows the alternate groundwater analysis.
Like it wasn't nothing. already.
You need more, right?
It's my motion. Subject to no objection from Blue Water. On a GC. That's okay.
Can y'all give a recommended depth?
And including the minimum depth. The report will recommend a minimum.
And it'll be filed on the plat.
And that would be included on the plat and the, sorry. So,
I'm including the recommended.
yeah,
Wasn't
well
recommended.
done.
Y'all be used to it.
I am.
Recommended, well done. On the plat.
In the restrictions.
Just one go.
There's 30.
Okay.
Like 300 feet on the other guy across the street, right?
So there.
I got it, Brandon.
I second that motion.
And you have the.
To approve variance to allow an alternate groundwater analysis subject to on it, including the recommended content on the plat and the restrictions.
So there's not three each.
Three.
That's good. That'll
We'll
work.
learn to write your name one day.
Oh, I got a motion second. All in favor, raise your hand.
We love
Motion
it.
carries. No more executive, I guess. Public comments. We got one from Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, we got somebody that did come in.
Yeah, we have one public comment.
Yeah, I forgot. It's been so long. You're finally up. One of the first guys here, right?
Thank y'all for coming this morning. My name's Freddie Thompson. I live at 43 Riverside Lane. And I'd like to talk about going into the property. The subdivision. I've been met with Mr. Doggett for about 2.5 years ago. And at that time, I was informed that no, the road would be repaved. The farm is to do the patches. Well, they do keep doing patches, and same patch, rain. 2 weeks later, you got to make a road. The road goes on. And one of the issues is there's no crown in the road. All the water goes in the road, runs down the road, stays in the road. It's low spot sets, and that creates problems. Right. Now, I bought my property in 17, and since then, I paid taxes on the property, and went back, checked all the records, $66,700 and some odd dollars. My question is, I met with him, he told me that he received $149 out of what I paid for the road and bridge to work with. And that's all he received, and if I wanted to, he'd be more glad to come in and plow the road up and go back into the dirt road. Well, you know, I bought on a paved road, I expected to stay a paved road. And then the other issue, if it was put back to a dirt road, you still got to maintain it. You have to come in and grade and come back and do stuff like that. So my question is, why can't I get the road there fixed? And I'm not the only one who lives on the road. There's other people who live on the road. And how much they pay, I don't have a clue, you know, but I'm guessing they probably pay as much as I do, or maybe even more than I do in taxes. So my question again is, what? I was in business for years and years myself and everything. Well, I was at a plant. I was in construction, and it changed all the time. You had to be kind of fluid. I know y'all had to be kind of fluid with the roads and stuff because things happen and everything. But to me, there should be some sort of plan on maintenance of every so often you are going to be repaving roads in certain areas or whatever. And my question is that happening here? Do you have a plan? Or can you tell me still now that no, it's never going to be paid, it's going to stay like it is?
We can't really interact with you. It's your time to talk to us.
Okay, right, that's right. I'm asking.
So,
You are
yes,
welcome.
I mean.
He's
I know
welcome
you
to come
got
by my
some
office. We're there. If my truck's out front, stop on in and I'll be happy to share what we have. That's pretty much what we're allowed to say because it wasn't an agenda item. But you know my office and come on by. We'll be happy to visit with you.
So we'll have the same discussion again, pretty much. Yeah, okay. So it really does no good to force my opinion, get it out and get it.
Well, if there's an agenda item, we can communicate with you, but
Okay,
when
so if I wanted to put it on the docket. and
it
everything,
would be.
I
Commissioner.
go to him
Holler me and stick it on there. Yeah.
and ask him to put it on. And then everybody can have an input as far as whether or not y'all are in the same situations and y'all's precincts and stuff like that.
You come by and see me. I'll visit with you.
Well, from what I understand, you know, here listening a while ago and everything, you know, that you can't talk individually.
Well, yeah, you kind of heard the discussion, so.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. Anyway, I got to voice my opinion and everything. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Questions from media? Commissioners Court.
You left us.
Everybody.
Vern and